This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful Cape Agulhas Penguin Sanctuary. Communication. This is a big one. As far as I'm concerned, we've lost the art of true communication. GIFs, text messages, emails, they've all replaced the basic unit of communication, which used to be speech. We used to talk to each other. We used to share our feelings. We used to be able to communicate openly. And it seems like, especially the younger generation, has totally lost this. It's as if people have become so self-contained in their little mental world of words that they've forgotten the ability to express. And obviously expression is a big part of the arts. So we've got this AI revolution where the AI bots of the future will be the artists of the future. And they will be tapping from the actual creativity of the past, which is quite sad. And it seems to me that it's time for us to start reconsidering the way that we communicate with each other, because communication is fundamental to the state of being. We can't exist as islands. We don't find health on our own little island, in our own little bubble, trying to figure out what it is we are in a world detached and separated from each other. It is with each other that we experience the fundamental forces of love, compassion, and all those powerful spiritual grounding elements that are part of the matrix of being, part of the teaching matrix of being, the inner learning where we can actually discover our purpose in life and why we're here. And we built this civilization as a group. We didn't build it as units. And the old saying of the sum of the all is greater than the sum of the parts could never have been truer. And we can see how we are becoming separated from each other. It's as if some greater force is dividing and conquering, bit by bit, literally bit by bit and megabit by megabit of the world that we live in, which has become a largely digital world, sadly. And the digitalization of this world doesn't seem to be the way forward. It seems to be some kind of a quagmire of belief that we're being lost in, where all the truths of the past are being measured and countered by the AI bots of the future. And so it's up to us to reclaim our humanity, to reclaim that which is the true birthrights of humans. And that's the group consciousness, the ability to be able to operate as a group. The way we see birds when they fly as a group and they're one. The reality that we are becoming more and more mechanized as a society is actually quite scary. And I believe that the text messages are part of the reason. Psychologists have noticed that 70% of all communication is nonverbal. I want you to digest that, 70%. That means that what we type on our little keyboards is only 30% of what we're actually trying to communicate, or how effectively we would be able to read communication from each other. And so it really causes us to become totally neurally obsessed. And this means that our emotions become more and more repressed. And as we become more repressed emotionally, our health suffers, because repression of emotion equals illness. Mental illness, physical illness, psychological, spiritual illness, it's all part and parcel of the same mechanism. So it's important for us to become viscerally active, to start communicating with our true feelings, to be able to speak to each other, to be able to look each other in the eye, because that's profoundly important. When you look into another human being's eyes and you speak to them, you get a sense of who they are, and they get a sense of who you are. And you get a feedback loop of them reacting to who you are, of you reacting to who they are. And it gives you a great impression of where it is that you are at and what it is you need to do in order to find where it is you want to be. And while we're running around in our heads with texts, memes, words, and GIFs, and all of these other little mechanisms which are supposed to replace true communication, we find that we become more lost in our minds, less of a sense of who we are, less of a sense of belonging, and less connected to the group from whence we've come. I believe the group is important. I believe it's important for us to find family, for us to find our tribe, for us to be able to really connect with people. And it seems that the internet has come to connect us across the world, but the connections have become Facebook, Twitter, and all this other nonsense, which is essentially just us getting lost in the quagmire of our own belief systems without actually having true conversations. And I find it really challenging being on many Facebook groups, and there's just nobody having a real conversation. There aren't people willing to converse anymore. because the conversations normally break down to some kind of a degenerative form of argument, because everybody's trying to force their opinions on everybody else. They haven't realized that there is something much more important going on in the process of communication. There's a spiritual process happening. There are forces of consciousness working towards bettering our own personal understanding of who we are and each other. So remember that when you start communicating with your friends and loved ones. Oh, and another thing, relationships. The fastest way to crash a relationship is with text messages. If you really want to create a communication breakdown, you will achieve that with emails, text messages, and glyphs far faster than what you would with any other form of communication. So, keep it real, keep it sweet, keep it true. Look each other in the eye and speak from the truer, deeper you. This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you with love, with peace, and with your harmony. Take care. Om Shanti.